Hi, ho, good neighbors. What's going on? It's Phil Russert. Trying to deal with social media. Anyway, so hopefully some people come in. Someone was here. Someone said gave it a like. Someone left. Okay. Anyway, I wanted to talk about the campaign, show some art, and also minor rant. What would I be without one of my rants? I haven't been live in a long time. To be honest with you, I've been trying to kind of stay low on social media because it has been draining me in this election cycle. I'm friends with people on both sides of the political spectrum. I'm friends with people that I would disagree with politically, but I think they're good people, and I'm not going to be part of the great divide. And it's just frustrating when you deal with the extremism that has become people in the political climate, especially when you want to just do comic books and appeal to everybody, and what we all have in common, right? I mean, we're so focused on how we're different these days that we kind of just skip over how we're alike, and the funny thing is, like, again, someone showed up, someone left. If I was ranting and going off and causing a fight right now, I'd have a lot of people in the room, and they'd be hanging out, and they'd be listening. So I guess it is what it is, right? Rubbernecking. Look at the accident. I'm kind of waiting and hoping some people will show up to talk about the campaign. I want to show some great art that Ricardo sent me in the mail that came today from Brazil. It is available on the campaign, and no one has pledged on it yet. We have 28 hours to go. As of midnight, it will be the one-day mark. So midnight tomorrow on Halloween is the end of the campaign for Arcane Syndicate. And let me share the screen. Timer screen. There you go. Put on the volume. Boom. There we go. All right. Arcane Syndicate. So I don't normally like to do public domain characters. I like to create my own stuff, but I had come up with these ideas and these stories that I thought would be best told by using these characters, and that's why I decided to go with public domain. Now, it's been said to me that it was a smart move because you're using established characters to get notoriety. And as much as that's true, that really wasn't a thought on my mind because I like to earn things on my own merit. I don't want anything handed to me. I don't want to be placated. I surround myself with people that are very brutally honest, and you have to have a thick skin to be around them because they're going to brutally tell you. And it's how I become a better writer and a better creator and a better publisher, because if you don't hold yourself to high standards, then why? What are you doing? You should want more out of yourself, and you should try for more. And that's how I see it. So anyway, I don't know if this is being shown on, let's look. Is this live? Is anybody seeing this? It says I'm live, but yeah, okay. All right, so 10 people showed up and left. All right, so here's the thing. I do different things with these characters that nobody's ever done before, and I really mean that. I'm not saying it as a marketing ploy. I'm sincere when I say that. I come up with a lot of subplots. It's an ongoing series. It goes into a lot of supernatural stuff. I mean, the quick pitch is if you said League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Suicide Squad, and Monster Squad mixed in with my own stuff, that's like the pitch to kind of get you to understand. But it really is more than that. Anybody who's read my dialogue is my strength, and character development and personality is my strength in writing. But I also put you on these fantastical journeys and stories. And in this, I do many different things with the characters while still honoring their mythology, the legends of these monsters. And For legal reasons, we might have changed the aesthetics up a little bit on them because we, of course, want to respect the legality of things. But I really, really am excited about this book. I really think it's something you haven't read before. They may be monsters that you know, but you've never read them like this before. And I'm going to delve into this more, but I'm just waiting for more people to come in. And if you haven't pledged, we have a lot of followers, and I don't know if you know what the conversion rate is, but basically with Kickstarter, they have statistics to show you, and there's the conversion rate. There's the amount of followers, and then the conversion rate is how many have become pledgers, backers. And usually a campaign ends around 35 to 38%. We've been hovering at 16% the whole time. So there's a lot of people watching and haven't pulled the trigger yet. And you never know why. Maybe they just want to see if they have the money, if it lines up with payday. Maybe they didn't have the money at the time. The economy's tough, or maybe they want to wait and see if there's something else they like better on Kickstarter, or maybe they just like to wait till the end. But we're hoping that the last day finishes strong. Honestly, it would be great if we could get to like 6,000. As far as the conversion rate, it looks like we could, but I don't know. It's been pretty slow trickling in. We just lost a few backers. We lost several $100 actually yesterday, which is hard for a small indie campaign for people to back out within 2 days. That's kind of hard. But anyway, it is what it is. So if you like classic monsters, if you like horror, if you like action, if you like supernatural magic, things like that, you'll enjoy this. It takes a nice blend of superhero, team dynamics, actual horror, science fiction, magic and supernatural, action, and at the same time, a lot of subplots that really delve into characters and get you to know them. Each one of these monsters has a distinct personality that you will get to know. And they are, like I said, written differently than anybody has ever written them before. And I really, really think you guys are going to like it if you give it a shot. So I'm going to just play the trailer right now. Well, there's really not much traction. Nobody's really coming in to watch. I guess that's what happens when you don't go live much anymore. But I hope some people show up. It would be really great if you did. Here's the trailer. Like we cut out a bit. I'm sorry. I apologize. I don't know why. Again, I say this every time. I'm hardwired, and for some reason, it's still doing this. I don't understand. Pay all this money, and we can't get proper internet service. Anyway, so having said that, we are at $4,625 with 110 backers and 28 hours to go. I am very, very sincerely grateful to everyone who has pledged, to everyone who honors their pledge. I don't know if this is very frustrating. How am I hardwired and I can't get a signal? Anyway, for those who pledge and support, and for those who keep that pledge and stick with us, I'm grateful to you. Thank you. I really appreciate you. I really do. Indie publishers work hard, and we work on shoestring budgets, so it is very helpful when you actually spend money on us. I know times are tough, though, so I don't hold anything against anybody, but we are very grateful when you support us. David Rivers doing an amazing job on the interiors here. There, you can read the synopsis there. I don't want to bore you with it because people don't care these days when you read a Kickstarter. But there you go. There are some covers, and we just we're having fun with this, guys. And it's a fun read. It's a great story. We have different price points. If the cover price is too much for you, I understand. We have a $10 blank sketch cover. You can get a cover of choice, your own custom cover. Here are some interiors to show you just how brilliant the team is. I cannot thank David River enough for his pencils and inks, his sequential storytelling. February Ferdian is amazing at colors, as you can see. It's a privilege to work with these guys. And of course, George Medina rolling out the letters so that you can read the story, and it flows very nicely. And sound effects. He's great team that I'm very, very, very grateful to work with, and privileged and honored to work with. Fantastic. And I have to tell you, collaborating with an artist and allowing them some freedom is the best thing you could do as a writer. Put your ego aside and let the artist tell some of the story too, and they'll do a great job. So Dr. Frankenstein's descendant is diagnosed with terminal cancer, stage 4. And through science and black magic, he is transferring his brain into the Frankenstein's monster. Therefore, he leads the team as an intelligent Frankenstein's monster. He is at odds with Dracula. Dracula is arrogant, feels they're all beneath him. So there's that dynamic. And then you have the other team. The Invisible Man is the wisecracker. He's the humorous guy, but we don't know what his intentions are. And there's just other stuff in here that's great. And this is Maximus. He is the director of the Global Protectorate Agency, of which they work for, that deals with supernatural threats to the world. So if you kind of took the Avengers, Suicide Squad, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Monster Squad, you mashed them in a blender and threw in my stuff. And then, of course, there is the Great Vampire War, because Nosferatu and Vlad the Impaler exist, and they all feel that the other are the imposters. Just so you know, we have other horror books here, and we've got tragedies, trade paperback, and Philbo Publishing Presents. So if you want to try some other stuff that we've got, other sample size stuff, it's here, and you can check it out. And we have PDFs and we have physical. Now, I just want you to know, I wanted to keep prices down. Unfortunately, printing has gone through the roof. Everything is very expensive now, which means artists are charging more, letterers are charging more, colorists are charging more, papers more, printers are more. So I do apologize. And then Kickstarter takes their 11%, but I really couldn't go lower than what I did. I would like to, and hopefully when the economy approves and things go back to normal, hopefully it will, we can get back to more reasonable prices. I do apologize. But again, we have PDFs that are affordable, and we have the $10 sketch cover if that's more up your alley. And, you can make anything glow in the dark. We've got the Monster Pack, which is Wither, Diary of Dread, and Arcane Syndicate. We've got the All-In, which is all the covers prior to the 2 we added. So we did not upgrade an All-In with the other 2. I apologize. We have a mystery box with this art, which Kenny has in his possession. I don't have it on me. But there's 7 mystery boxes. And every one of them is going to get an original inked and penciled 9 by 12 full I mean, a half body illustration of one of the 7 monsters. This is original art. So it's $200, but you're going to get the original art, which is valued at $200 at least. If you collect art, it's 9 by 12. You also get a foil cover that's random. One of the covers as foil, one of the covers as metal. I mean, a print as metal. I'm sorry. And you get a variant cover. So you're going to get 3 different covers, 1 foil, 1 metal, 1 variant, and I will make sure they're different. You're not going to get duplicates. I don't do that to anybody. You're going to get the original piece of art, and you'll get a random character. So honestly, this is valued at way more than $200 just because of the art alone. So if you like the special stuff, the swag stuff, this mystery box might be for you. Then we've got, you can make anything a virgin. We've got Kenny Calderon is available for commissions. That's a tier here. And I also wanted to show everybody, and I didn't put pictures up. That's probably why we had a problem. Stupid me. All right, so I'm going to show you the original art that is for sale on the campaign by Ricardo. These are 9 by 12. All right, they're on a thick sketch paper. It's not Bristol board, but it's a thick paper. There's Frankenstein's monster. My favorite is this one, the Invisible Man. You can see the ink strokes, so you can see there's original art, guys. This is original art. You've got Dracula. By the way, Ricardo is the illustrator of Tragedy. You've got The Mummy. I like that bird's eye view. I mean, worm's eye view. Very cool. You've got The Phantom of the Opera, which is another of my favorites that he did. You've got the Gillman, the creature, whatever you want to call him. Legal reasons, we cannot call him what we'd like to call him. He's not public domain yet. And the Wolfman. So these are all original art, and they are available, and they are on the campaign. So go check them out, and they're reasonably priced, guys. They're really affordable for original art. These days, you know, our prices have gone through the roof. So you know how expensive it can be. Headshots and busts these days are going for a good $80 to $100. I forget what these are priced at, but I think they're like $125, something like that. So they're really affordable, and they're full body, or most of them are full body, at the very least at 3/4. So, I mean, that's a good deal, and I didn't realize I did not put the pictures up, so that might be why. Oh, too late now. Anyway, when you're a one-man show, you slip things up, you forget. So that's Arcane Syndicate. It is live for 28 more hours. We're hoping to get to $6,000. That would be just glorious if you could help us do that. I don't think you'll be disappointed. I'm telling you, this is going to be a great story. Funny thing is, I asked David to do a cover, and I gave him the concept. I said I want them strutting down the hallway, and all the human military that are part of the Global Protectorate Agency to be staring at them as they walk down the hallway in awe, like, you know, nervous. I mean, these are monsters in their presence, you know. And David, as always, interprets what I ask perfectly, flawlessly, and knocked it out of the park. And then we took the United States emblem here, and we kind of tweaked it a little bit for the Global Protectorate Agency and put that on the floor. And David just killed it. I mean, fantastic. I love his rendition of The Mummy, Gillman. You know, we just very proud of this. And my wife says that this is up there with Tragedy as far as the best titles I've put out. So we have just great stuff, great people attached, and I'm very grateful. There's a Ricardo Silva cover. There's a Kenny Calderon cover. Kenny went with a more dynamic action scene. They're jumping out of their plane, their Quinjet, whatever you want to call it. I haven't named it yet, so we'll give it a name. Maybe we'll call it the Bat or something. I don't know. Anyway, so that's a very cool, dynamic scene, them jumping out of the plane. that's available. And, and all right. I'm not going to be much longer, but I am going to go on a little bit a minor rant. And people like my rants, so maybe they'll go on it. It's not really a rant, but I want to say that social media has been very difficult to navigate. Right, Facebook is not allowing you to share like you used to. It's flagging you as spamming people or trying to move away from the site. Hey, kid. And as an indie publisher, people hate when I discuss this, and I don't give a shit. I had a well-known artist who I do like and respect recently kind of get on me. They had to unfollow me all of a sudden. They're mad at me. They kind of gave me the cold shoulder because they didn't like the rants I went on about the industry. And I honestly think the reason why people get mad about my rants about the industry is because either they're capitalizing on the things that I am saying are hurting, or they're afraid that if I bring enough attention to it, it's going to change things and make it worse for them. And that's a self-preservation thing, and I get that. But honestly, any small publisher, any indie guy, and when I say indie, I'm not talking about Image and people with diamond accounts and Lunar, because that's indie, but it's not indie. You know what I'm saying? That's Billy Tucci's calling me. Billy, I'm live. That's not really indie. I mean, it is because you own the creator owned, but it's not because you're utilizing mainstream popularity and mainstream avenues. So Diamond is gatekeeping. You know, I mean, as a distributor, they sit there and they say they don't like your art or they think the book is not good enough. Now, I understand if a publisher says that, because the publisher is the one taking the risk. They're putting their name on the cover. They're the ones covering the print run. So I totally understand a publisher like Image or IDW, you know, critiquing the quality of the book. But Diamond is a distributor. All they do is mail it out to all the stores for you and put you in previews. And it's up to the store if they want to order it or not. And if a book isn't pro level or if it doesn't look good, then it won't survive. People won't order it. I don't think it's Diamond's job to say to deny a book. Their only criteria should be, are you able to professionally meet a monthly distribution deadline or bi-monthly or whatever you've agreed upon? That should be the only gatekeeping that Diamond should do, in my opinion. But no, they gatekeep. And I honestly think there's an intentional need to keep people down because they don't want competition. It's a small pond. And there's thousands of artists fighting for the same jobs. There's thousands of creators fighting for the same spotlights and jobs. So those who have it don't want to give it up. So yeah, there's gatekeeping. I mean, Facebook gatekeeps you. Kickstarter gatekeeps you. I mean, think about it. You know, you take a large campaign like Brian Pulido, who earned it. This is not a knock on Brian. So for those of you who like to twist shit, that's not what I'm doing. I respect what he does. The man is I'd love to be where he is. And he earned it. He's been working 30, 40 years. He started in mainstream and then went to Kickstarter, and I think that's where a lot of the success came from, as opposed to the other way around, Kickstarter to mainstream. But Brian, if you go to Kickstarter, his campaign will always pop up right away. Well, he's not the one who needs to be popped up in the algorithm because he's already making $300,000, $400,000 on his campaigns. The guy making $4,000 or $5,000 is the one that needs to be up in the algorithm, but we're not. Like, I looked at Arcane Syndicate, and constantly throughout the whole time it's been on, I had to scroll through like 120 comics to get to it. And I often saw repeats before I got to it. So there's a lot of gatekeeping, and there's people that don't think there is, but there is. So it gets hard, it gets frustrating for indie people not to be taken seriously. Or, you know, because don't get me wrong, some of it you look at it like it's more hobbyist. Maybe it's not professional level, but then there are some books that really are. They're professional level. They're well written. The art is wonderful. The sequential storytelling is there. The covers are there. and they can't get their shot. It's hard. Um, so when I talk about these things, it's not because I want to piss on the industry or insult anyone. It's acknowledging the things that I think need to be worked on, because at the end of the day, isn't it about loving comics and having wonderful comics to read available? I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm old enough to remember when, before Wednesday was the day for comics, but even still, it was exciting because you went to get 20 titles. You were collecting 30 titles a month. And you just, to get that stack of books and run home and just shut the door, go in your room and just read and just get into that world, whether it was Daredevil or Superman or Nightwing or whatever, was just magical. Every week it was something to look forward to in a rough, you're working your job or you're going to school or you're dealing with whatever. It was magical to be able to go delve into those comics every week. And it's not there anymore. That magic, at least for me. I mean, I understand I'm older and there are younger generations that still like what's out there, but the numbers don't lie. Readership is down. They're not even reporting numbers anymore. They just reported the new Batman numbers, and I don't know if I believe them, but even if they are real numbers, those were numbers that were considered cancellation numbers in the 80s and 90s. I mean, well, the 90s. I mean, Iron Man alone in the 90s was selling 900,000 copies. And Iron Man wasn't a flagship title. Like, he wasn't big until the Avengers movie and Robert Downey Jr. So, statistics are on my side. And I know people will argue this or they get mad at me, but statistics are on my side. And I'm sorry, it's just the truth. So, having said that, big things are happening next year. And I'm going to be talking about it soon. I just can't yet. And I'm very excited and nervous, but I'm okay with getting in the ring and giving it my best. And if my best wasn't good enough and I get knocked out, I got knocked out. But at least I walk out of that ring with my head held high and I say I gave it everything I had. I took every punch. I threw a few. It wasn't there for me, I did my best. I can live with that. But I'm not going to be told I can't get in the ring and fight. And right now, with all the gatekeeping, they tell you your choice is either you get accepted by a big publisher or you get accepted by distribution as your own publisher. And if you don't get those, well, too bad, then just stay on crowdfunding. I don't accept that. I don't accept two solutions. Hi Carissa. One of the characters I always loved was Captain Kirk. And like in Wrath of Khan, he said, I don't believe in a no-win scenario, and I don't like to lose. And I live by both of those. I don't like a no-win scenario. I don't believe in it. It's a matter of how much you want to sacrifice. For example, if you went into a fight and the only way you could win the fight is to lose your arm, some people look at that as too much of a sacrifice. It's not a win. It depends. If you're willing to lose that arm to win, well, then you won. It really depends on your level of what you're willing to give up and sacrifice for the said win. If you think that every win is going to be perfectly clean, no blood, taking no shots, then maybe you're right. Maybe you're not going to win. I'm okay with getting hit. I'm okay with taking shots. I'm okay with bleeding. And like I said, things are coming up next year, and I'm going to really surprise a lot of people. And I'm not going to be gatekept. You're not going to tell me what I can and can't do. The only people that are going to dictate to me what I can and can't do are the readers. If they decide my books aren't worth it and they don't buy it, well, then that's it. They're not worth it. You don't buy it. But I'm not going to have any industry people tell me what I'm worth or what I can and can't do. And I'm not going to have any distributor, any publisher, or any editor or anybody tell me what I can't do or I'm not good enough. I don't accept that. I don't. And no one should. None of you should. How many of you are grinding away on crowdfunding, scraping and pleading and begging for $2,000 or $3,000? When you know your story, if it got out to enough people, would be so much more. And that's the other thing. I was a musician. I was a drummer and a singer. And I did backup singing, and I used to play drums. I've headlined CBGBs before. I've opened for some big bands, and I had a modest, small musical career that was promising, but didn't work out, and I'm okay with that. I walked away from it knowing I gave it my best. But the thing is, drumming in my basement to a stereo is only goes so far for me. But when you're out in front of that crowd and that audience and you give that energy and they return that energy, it's magical. It's powerful. It's inspirational. It's motivational. It's the stuff that things are made of, right? Well, the same thing with writing. As much as it would be nice to just write my stories and have my 3 or 4 family members read them and enjoy them or whatever, hopefully they enjoy them, I want my energy out there in the world, and that energy returning, and it's not from an air of arrogance because I don't think I'm the best writer in the world. I think I'm a good writer and I want to be a better writer. But that energy you put out where you're sharing these ideas and these stories and these creations that touch somebody or they reach somebody or they connect with it and they give you that energy back is empowering. It's exciting. It's motivational. It's inspirational. And that's part of it, and that's part of wanting to get these stories out on a monthly basis in comic stores, because Kickstarter, you're reaching a small portion size of the comic industry. And then even then, as I've said before, which pisses people off, and it usually pisses the people off that are grifting, I don't give a shit. Readership, I think, is not the demographic for comics on Kickstarters anymore for the most part. Are there readers still? Yes. Are there a lot? I don't know, because quality story books are not doing as well as NSFW or gimmicky stuff with metal covers and this and that. So, and like swag. So I don't think the demographic is readers as much as it's shifted to collectors. And I think that's overall in comics. And that's why variant covers are big. That's why you have a lot of these online retailers hire an artist to do variant covers for Marvel books, and they put them out there and they sell them and make a lot of money. They didn't create any content. They just hired an artist, got this variant, put it out there, and people are buying left and right and then grading and everything. So grading alone shows you it's a collector thing more than a reader thing now, because you can't read a slab book. Yes, there are some people that will buy 2 copies, the reader copy and slide the other, but that's not a lot. So I want to get out there. I want to get my books out there. I want you to be able to read them. I want you to be able to enjoy them, connect with them. If you don't, thank you for giving it a shot. No problem. Move to the book that you like. But I really believe in what I'm doing, and if I didn't, then I'd be wasting my time and your time, and it would be foolish. I really believe in the quality of the stories and the art that I'm putting out. Would I ever say that they're flawless books? No, there's always something you could critique, whether you're a professional artist or a writer or whatever. But I really think they're quality stories. And I really think if you miss reading quality stories in comics, or if you don't feel there are enough books, like you have a few that you like but you would love more, I really think if you're passing up my books, Philbo, you're missing out. And I don't mean that from a place of arrogance, but a place of confidence. I really believe your investment in my comic book, you're going to walk away loving the stories, enjoying them. And I have plenty of testimonies to that. I mean, I can tell you major writers like Peter David, Howard Mackey, Chuck Dixon said that Tragedy was well written. They read Tragedy 1. I have people that are followers and fans, so to speak. I hate to use the word fans, but supporters, that they tried a free PDF and now they want to buy everything I have because they really love what I'm doing and my storytelling. And I guess what I always say is, I'm not going to tell you how great it is, but you tell me. And the only way you can tell me is if you buy the book and try it, or the PDF. I don't think you'd be disappointed. But next year, I'm really excited, and it's going to be coming soon. I'm going to be announcing some big things, really big, things that people have not done before. I mean, I'm going for my title shot, and I'm going to do everything I need to do in the realm of integrity to get it done. I will. I already get no sleep. I will sleep less. I will bleed. I will cry. I will scrape. I will claw. I will scratch. But I will get there because I have the wisdom and experience of a 52-year-old and the motivation and the fire in my gut of a 25-year-old. So I hope you all jump on board with me because I'm not going to be told I can't get in the ring. I'm not going to be gatekept, and I don't accept the terms that are put out by this industry. I don't. And for those of you who don't like when I speak like this, I respect your right to not like it. Just leave me alone. Don't come at me. Don't take your shots at me. Don't try to hurt me because then I'm going to have to respond. And I don't want to do that. I just want to create books. And for those of you who think a lot of what I say and do is negative, I challenge you to go look at my posts. About 98% of them are my family, my friends, the books I'm publishing, and what I'm doing with Filbo Publishing and my stories, and art. And 2% is probably ranting or complaining about something. And there's plenty of people that are much more negative than me. I try to share out in the community. I try to be a voice and support, and not from a place of arrogance, just because a place of no fear. Because let's be honest, you'll get bullied, you'll get picked on, you'll get messed with on social media if you speak out. If you speak out about a political view, a social view, or you can't even say you like or hate a movie without someone coming at you. I said I didn't like Terrifier 1, and people got pissed at me because we're all batshit fucking crazy. But I don't care. I don't care. And a lot of times people think my responses are angry or upset. They're not. I'm just speaking. You don't get me that bad unless you're coming after me or my family. What you going to do when the Filbomaniacs go wild on you? Yeah, there you go, Kit. Kenny Calderon, Shazam. Kenny, like I said, all that original art is on the campaign right now in the mystery boxes. The other thing I want to rant about is, hey, Charles, are dumb, though I check them out once in a while. Yeah, I watched the first one. Look, I understood what they were going. Let me clarify. I totally respect that this was a guy with a $35,000 budget. He's an indie guy, and he broke out, and he made millions, and he's in theaters worldwide. So I respect that. I'm happy for him. I am rooting for them to continue. Me not liking the movie doesn't mean that I want him to fail or that I think his fans are stupid. It just means I didn't care for it. Now, and I always hate this, is a very lazy response. Well, you just didn't understand what they're going for. No, I understood it was a grindhouse slasher. I understood very well what it was supposed to be. Just didn't like it. I didn't care for it. But I heard 2 is better, and it had a bigger budget, and I might check it out just to check it out, because I think Art the Clown is a good character. I like more of the creepier side. So I thought they missed potential with making Art more creepier, more mysterious than just this dude that goes around killing people. But what I did like is he'll kill you any way he can. He'll shoot you. He'll choke you out with a plastic bag. He'll run you over with a car. I mean, at least, if you're going to kill, he'll kill you any way he can. So I like that. And again, I think we come from this world is so polarized now that me not liking Terrifier 1 is not passing judgment on the people that do. And it feels like that's how people take it. Like I've cast some aspersions or put judgment on you because you liked a movie that I didn't. I don't know why I do know why we've gone this way. It happens in politics too. I just recently, I try to be as objective as possible. For example, if a politician has a faux pas and says something that you knew was not what they meant, and they're on the side that you really don't believe in their policies, I am not going to jump on the bandwagon and use that as motivation to sway people, because it's, I'll give you a perfect example. Tim Walz said, "I'm friends with a lot of school shooters." And, Republicans and conservatives all jumped on that as a talking point. It's obvious he made a mistake. Now, am I a fan of him? No, I don't think he's vice presidential material. But I know what he said was a faux pas. I don't think he really meant to say that he's friends with school shooters or that he is friends with school shooters. So we have to be objective, but we can't be anymore. Whether it's politics or it's comics or movies. I mean, I just lost 4 people out of here just by mentioning politics, which is so polarized, even in media. Like, I thought She-Hulk was so horrible. It was such a bad story. And then everybody said, "Oh yeah, well, they did exactly what Byrne did." No, they didn't. They tried to, but they didn't accomplish what Byrne did. That's the point. Just because you did the same type of thing doesn't mean you did it in the same level of quality. A lot of horror podcasts are afraid to say they do not like certain things because they want to get interviews for some of these old horror stars or get interviews from conventions after they mop up the showroom floor afterwards. And that's the other thing too, Charles. You're right. There's a lot of behind the scenes politics. There's a lot of people, bandwagons, and sometimes you look at somebody, hey, Rally, sometimes you look at something and you wonder how or why it gained the popularity it did. And I'm not talking about Terrifier. I'm just saying in general. And a lot of times it's falsely inflated. And an example is when you look at the art market, and I'm talking about fine art and art galleries. There's a reason why a taped banana to a wall was $1 million. They falsely inflate it. They falsely make you think there's value. It happens in comics all the time. How many people, the new Venom movie comes out and they say first appearance of Noel right now is through the roof. And then the movie sucks, and the movie's forgotten in 3 weeks, and it's on streaming, and nobody gives a shit. And all of a sudden, the price of those books goes down again. And it's like insurance. It's like oil. Speculation, which is contrived, gives you a perceived value. And that's really what it is, right? A perceived value. I'm going to purposely only print 25 of these books so that it has a perceived value. Therefore, it can be charged more. And that's it. That's what a lot of people do. And that currency isn't just monetary. It's also in branding, right? Like going to Charles' point. A lot of times people will not be honest about what they think about something. They'll jump on a bandwagon because of the personal currency. I got to interview a big name, or I'm friends with them now, or I get to suck up to them. So yeah, there's a lot of politics at play. I watched Venom 2 just because the popcorn bucket. Nice. Venom 3, right. Nice. And, I don't know. I've never been a celebrity worshiper. I've never jumped on bandwagons. I'm usually the guy who likes the character. Everybody else doesn't pay. Like, I was a Nightcrawler fan, huge Nightcrawler fan, when nobody really cared about him. Everybody's on Wolverine's jock. I was a Nightcrawler and Colossus fan. Now they have much more popularity, and I think they're written like shit, but whatever. But I was a big fan of them when they were obscure, I've always liked the obscure characters. I liked Gossamer, which is the orange, hairy monster with the sneakers and Bugs Bunny, since day one. Everybody loved Tasmanian Devil, and then all of a sudden Gossamer became popular. I don't do it consciously. I just like obscure characters. I like the character that nobody's really paying attention to and giving attention to, because usually those are the ones that have the most depth. Those are the ones that aren't gimmicky. Those are the ones that were fleshed out, because usually mainstream starts making things gimmicky. Like Venom is gimmicky now. I didn't read the Donny Cates storylines. I heard it's very good, and I believe it, and someday I will read it. But I liked the Venom that was really just a bigger, stronger Spider-Man that did not set off his spider sense, and Spider-Man was terrified of him. He was that one villain that Spider-Man was afraid of and couldn't beat. And, of course, now he's an anti-hero because he got popular, and he's got tendrils and the long tongue. And I know that the long tongue came with Eric Larson, but I don't know. I liked the chiclet teeth McFarlane Venom. That's just me. And I believe you, King of Black storyline. I do want to read it someday. I've heard it's good. I believe it. But again, when they did it with Sabretooth and Juggernaut, and when a character becomes popular, they start writing him to continue the popularity and ride the bandwagon, as opposed to write him for the character he is and flesh him out and appreciate him. Look at Superman. People got tired of corny, humble Superman, which I never will. So they made him angry all the time, or they made him bad, or they make bad versions of him, even if it's in Elseworlds. They change him up because they're trying to appeal to whatever the audience wants at the moment. And media always reflects society. When society is negative, all media is negative. I mean, most of what we watch now is The Boys, and violence and gore, and an angry Superman, and a Batman that uses guns. That's really what we focus on, because society is really dark right now. We're really angry, and we're really at each other's throats, and it's very negative. But if you looked years ago when things were not negative, society was more communicable. Superman was humble. And Batman didn't use a gun. He refused to use a gun. And, Peter Rasputin was this noble-hearted, big, gentle giant. I know later in the 80s he snapped the neck of one of the Marauders, but just before that, it just seems times are getting more negative, and so our stories are reflecting that. And I think some negative stories are good, or darker stories. Like tragedy isn't all peaches and cream. But I do think we need room for the positive stuff too, and Dynamics is positive, and it's family friendly, and it's fun. I think we need a good blend, and I don't think we get enough of that blend anymore. Everything is over hyper-sexualized or hyper-violent or hyper-gory. And again, I am someone who did Diary of Dread, and it's a gory book, so I'm not knocking these things. I'm just saying variety is a spice of life. But again, the industry is going to dictate to you what's hip and what's not, what you should like and what you shouldn't. And I hate to say this, but most people jump on those bandwagons and just go with what they're told. You like this. I know your She-Hulk is good. You like it. Okay, I loved it, blah, blah, blah. No, it was crap. They can tell you it's great 1,000 times till Sunday, but crap is crap. And I think most people don't even know what good entertainment is anymore, because we've been inundated with so much shit that we got used to it. We lowered our standards. I remember a time not very long ago where TV had Breaking Bad, Sons of Anarchy, Justified, Supernatural. What was that other vampire movie on Showtime? Dexter, that vampire show. I mean, there was a plethora of well-written, quality, in-depth stories with quality, in-depth characters that you can relate to or just really delve into. And now it's crap. It's crap everywhere. You might have a gem here and there, but it's crap everywhere. And then I look at some of my indie friends that are putting True Blood. Thank you, Jason. True Blood. And then I look at some of my friends who are putting out great books. And I use this example all the time. My friend, Christopher Elston, he had put out a book called Rabbit's Badass Song. And this book is such a good book. It's well written. It's well drawn. It's a good story. It's a setup story, but I know where he told me where he's going to go with it. So I know it's going to get even better, which I can't hold against anybody because they don't know that far. But just the first 3 books alone hold their own. They're really good. And the guy couldn't break $3,000 on Kickstarter. Nobody would pay it any mind or give it any attention. People follow brands more than they follow quality entertainment anymore. When Wet Ass is a number 1 song, I'm sorry, you can't convince me we haven't lowered our standards. I mean, how did we go from Stairway to Heaven and Rush's Hemispheres and even Motown, with Smokey Robinson, to Wet Ass and how did we go wrong? And I really think that they've dumbed it down to the audience, and the audience has accepted it, and we don't know any better anymore. And I see so many people putting out quality, great stuff that they can't get a chance. Why? Oh, I don't know him. I don't know if he's any good. Well, why don't you go find out? I mean, you've pissed away money on much more. You spend $20 on a carton of cigarettes that's killing you. You spend money on alcohol that you're just going to piss out after getting drunk and killing brain cells. Or you bought some crappy toy that broke in 5 seconds. Why not just take 10, 15 bucks and go pick up an indie book and give it a try? Nobody says you have to keep buying it if you don't like it, but give it a try. You know, it's like Kobe Bryant, right? Amazing basketball player. He was amazing. Rest his soul. He was an amazing basketball player. Was he the same player in his last year as he was in his prime? No. Was he still good? Of course. But he was still getting the contract based on what he brought to the table years ago, not what he currently was bringing, because his brand was going to put people in the seats, right? People were still coming to see Kobe, and even more so before he retires. And we're seeing it in comics. Some of the older statesmen, like we had a rough year a few years ago where Neil Adams passed away, and Tim Sale and some other people, and George Perez. So a lot of people are jumping on the bandwagon with the older statesmen in comics, and now they're more popular than ever because they're trying to get their signatures and their sketches and everything so they can flip them or get investment value out of them, which is kind of wrong to me. Hey, Guido. I mean, you know, when you look at Walt Simonson, I just love what he does. And he's always been a legend, but if you look at his lines, they're crazier now than ever. And it's kind of like a vulture mentality, and he deserves better than that, I think. But that's just me. And, you know, I don't know. We won't dare spend a few bucks to support an indie guy we don't know that could very well have the next book that we really enjoy. But we keep throwing our money at Batman, hoping it gets better. And I'm sorry, but I'm looking at a lot of crap coming out of the big publishers. A lot of crap. And people are still shoveling money at it. Same with the movies. When do you give the little guy a shot that might just be the next big thing because he's good? You know, like Scott Snyder wasn't always Scott Snyder. I live right near him. And he's at Fourth World Comics all the time. And Fourth World knew him when he was an aspiring writer trying to break in. And now he's a superstar. And, you know, from what I've seen and heard of him, he's a nice guy. And, you know, the only thing I've read of his that I know of was The Court of Owls, which was really good. I've been told that his writing with some of the Justice League stuff wasn't good. A lot of people say it was editorial's fault, not his, which... You give him the benefit of the doubt because he's had such a great resume. But no matter what, people will still buy because they trust in him. We're not selling a product anymore. We're selling trust in you know, my name. And we want to like something so bad. I love Batman. I love Nightcrawler. I love the X-Men. I kept buying X-Men for years and years and years, throwing money at them. And then the pile just kept stacking up because I wasn't as excited to read them anymore. They were changing the characters. The story sucked. It was terrible until I finally just had to cut the cord and let go. And I didn't want to. It was sad because I grew up with the X-Men. I grew up with these characters. It was part of my childhood. It saved me from a rough childhood. It was part of the magic that I wanted to hold on to. So I kept throwing money at it to hold on to that magic and hope that the books would get back to where they were. They're not going to anytime soon. If they ever do, I'll probably be long dead. They're just not. They're not the characters that Chris Claremont immortalized for 17 years. They're not. They're not anywhere near the characters that he did. And here's the funny thing. They refused to write the characters properly, but X-Men 97 cartoon was based on mostly Claremont and Scott Lobdell storylines, where those characters were written the way they're supposed to be. And it was a hit. And everybody from old school to new school loved it. And yet they won't do that in the comics. Why? Why? They have lost all our old school readers because we can't relate to these characters anymore. We don't know who they are. Change is good, but it has to be natural and progressive. Chris Claremont changed characters over time, all the time. Rachel Summers, her character changed. Rogue, perfect example of a changing character. You know, Nightcrawler changed, but they all made sense, and they were all over time. because he was the writer with them for 17 years. It was a natural progression, which is wonderful because we all change naturally. But what they're doing now is they're just writing. They're getting these writers that I don't think have any history, knowledge, or experience of comics, any love for the characters, and they're just writing them the way they think the character should be written. No, these characters were established. You need to write them the way who they are, and if there's natural progression, so be it. But I don't know. So it does get frustrating. And the thing is, I'm the one willing to say this stuff. I know a lot of people that'll complain in DMs to me and everywhere else, but they won't say a word publicly because they're afraid of backlash. And maybe I am getting backlash because you know what? I was doing $13,000 campaigns for tragedy, and now I can't break $5,000. So maybe I'm getting backlash for speaking the truth or speaking my mind. So be it. I mean, if people want to spite me because I'm being honest, then fuck you. Sorry. If you're going to spite me because I'm just speaking honestly when I haven't said anything to hurt anybody, then fuck you. I don't care. Those who support me, they support me because they believe in me, they believe in what I'm doing, and they believe in the quality of the stories, and they enjoy them. And those are the fans that I would love to have. Those are the supporters and followers I'd love to have. And if it's only 500 people at some point, or 300 or 200 people, well, then I'm grateful for every damn one of them for being decent human beings that appreciate what I'm doing. Would I like to mass appeal? Yeah, of course I would. Who doesn't want their book out to thousands of people? Of course I do. I don't need to be famous. I don't need to be rich. I just want to be out there doing what I love for a living and live a modest, quiet life. But if something like this pisses you off, then I'm just not your cup of tea, and you could go do your own thing and leave me the hell alone. But if you like honesty, if you like someone who where they stand and they're transparent, this is how I do business too. Everybody who's worked with me, everyone, you ask them. I'm honest, I'm transparent, I do the right thing, and I do the best I can. And that's how I am. I'm honest with what I think, I'm honest with how I feel. I'll be honest all the time. And unless you're Charles Barkley, I guess people don't like that. Well, I don't give a shit, because I'm not compromising who I am or the father and the man I need to be for my family because a bunch of people don't like it and they're not going to pledge them a Kickstarter. That's not how I work. I'm not perfect. I'm flawed. I make mistakes all the time, but I am trying to grow and be a better person. And I do believe in the law of integrity. And anything I do, any mistake I make is never out of malice. It is never out of ill intent or to get over on anyone. It's pure ignorance or, lack of understanding or whatever. But once I'm made aware, I correct. Hey, Greg, I was promised free cookies. and that's it. Yeah, they're looking for shock value. That's the other thing, right? What's selling indie books these days? Is it the books? No. It's tits and controversy. I mean, you look at even the big names in Kickstarter, and they're just picking fights with each other, and they're arguing, and they're creating controversy because it gets clicks. And that's the funny thing. People who complain about me and my rants are the very people that watch my rants. Once in a blue moon, I put up a rant. They'll exaggerate and say I rant all the time. I do not. But, it's like that car. Like if you saw a family on the side, I use this analogy all the time. If you saw a family on the side of the road with a flat tire, they had two kids, it's 1 a.m, they're on the side of the road, you'll do 70 right past them and not give a shit. You say, oh, good luck to them. But if they wrap that car around a pole, you would stop and rubberneck and look. You wouldn't get out and help them either, but you'd stop and you'd look. You give them your attention. And that's what it is. And that's why people are creating this controversy, and they fabricate controversy because they know you're all going to stop and look and you're going to pay attention. Two things that sell are sex and controversy. A woman shows her ass or her tits and she's selling comics, and all the thirsty boys are going to come out and love her picture and pay attention and buy her book. whether it's good or not, because she's a pretty girl showing her ass and tits. You do you. I don't care. If you do that and that works for you, more power to you. I don't begrudge you. Not my thing, but it's just reality. I am not judging anyone. I'm stating a fact. The same way, if you create controversy and pick a fight with someone, and you have this war of words that goes on the internet, people start paying attention, and you get more clicks and you get more likes, and they start to buy a book based on who they want to back and support. Tribalism, those are the selling gimmicks these days in the indie community. I don't want that to be the selling point. I want to sell on the merit of quality stories, but you guys won't give me that chance. I'm at 4,600 right now for a book that, forgive me, but it should be doing a lot better. And then I look at books that are strictly just tits and ass, or based on controversy, and it's not even that they're quality books, or we don't even know if they're quality books because there's no story presented to us. It's just naked photos, or this guy pissed me off and he said this and I said that. But they're getting $30, $40, $50, $60, $70,000. Am I supposed to be okay with that? I mean, am I supposed to feel good about that? Am I supposed to just stay quiet and fall in line out of risk of repercussion? Because I hate to tell you, I'm already the one on the bottom of the total pole. Unless I give into that and do that, I'm already the guy on the bottom. So what do I got to lose but be honest? I can't crack 5,000 with a story that I know is quality, with artwork that is fucking brilliant, and sequential storytelling that's brilliant. But if I slapped a nude variant on there, I'd probably at least be at 10,000 right now. Am I supposed to be okay with that? I'm honestly, and the funny thing is, I know hundreds of creators that feel exactly how I do, but they don't say anything out of fear of repercussion. And I don't blame them. I get it. They're going to get hate. They're going to get drop pledges. They're going to get people that shit on them, piss on them. I won't name names, but I got a guy that anytime I mention this stuff, he gets on my posts and he comes at me all the time. It's because he's a grifter. It's because he's not doing the right thing. And this person admits that they'll just make money any way they can. They don't give a shit. So it's not about quality or integrity. And they're rewarded with your hard-earned money. Well, no, I'm not okay with that. I mean, you make your money however you want, and they're not forcing anybody, so I'm not knocking them. But that doesn't mean that I can't feel bitter and annoyed because I'm putting out something quality, and I got to struggle, and I got to bleed 10 times harder than someone who puts out some either photoshopped or digital nude variant, or even AI nude variant. You like your titties with 4 fingers? Go for it. Whatever. I don't know what to tell you. But I'm over here trying to give you quality books with hired artists, hired editors, hired logo designers, hired inkers, hired colorists, hired letterers. I'm trying to give you quality characters that you can relate to, root for, identify with, and not based on gender or race, but based on humanity. We all have the same feelings. We all feel insecure. We all feel powerless at times. We all have moments of triumph. I mean, there was a time where it didn't matter if Rocky was white or black, or if Apollo Creed was white or black. We just cared about the characters. We cared because they were human. And we related to them because we're human, and we've gone away from all this, and we got into gimmicks, and we got into the bullshit we're sold. And it just feels like the grifters are winning, and the grifters are going to pick away at this industry like vultures until there's nothing left. And then they're going to move to the next thing that they can grift off of. And we're rewarding them. And there'll be nothing left. If you care about comics, if you care about stories, if you really care about what you're spending your money on, and, again, you can have that cover that you think is worth something that's graded, which isn't going to be worth something someday just because it was a nude variant limited to 50. It ain't worth shit. I'm just telling you right now. Fine, if that's what you love, go for it. But if you love comics, if you love stories, because don't just forget, good comics become movies at some point. If you really love storytelling, if you want characters, new, fresh ideas, if you want something that resonates with you. I mean, How many story arcs have you gone back and reread? How many story arcs do you want to go back and reread? Do you remember fondly? Do they stay with you? Because the story was just that good. Whether it was John Byrne or Peter David or Chris Claremont or Howard Mackey or Chuck Dixon, the story was good. This is why stories like Nightfall are legendary and they stay with us. Because as much as that could have just been a gimmick to break the Bat's back, Chuck Dixon didn't make it a gimmick. He made it a story. He made it something epic, legendary, memorable. Why? Because Chuck cared about the character. He cared about the universe. He cared about the story first. And when he created Bane, it was to serve the story, not to have some new villain that can make millions, you know? And we've gone away from that. And we're rewarding the grifters and we're rewarding the people that don't care about storytelling and don't give a shit about this industry. And we're turning a blind eye and ignoring the people that are the future of this industry if it's to maintain. And you can argue with me. This is my opinion. There's a lot of numbers to back it up. There's a lot of things going on that can back it up. But hey, go get those retailer variants. Go get those new, limited editions. You do what you got to do. Enjoy the collectible part of it. But if you're not also supporting the story reader part of it, it ain't gonna last. Hang on one second. Come say goodnight. I love you. Sleep well, sweet dreams. Come on. I'll see you in the morning. Get some rest, kiddo. That was my kitten. She's shy. Doesn't like to be on camera all of a sudden. She used to be my partner in crime, but now she's shy. Phil, look up Ashline conformity. Explains how most prefer safety in numbers, even if it's the known wrong decision. Yes. No, I'm fully aware. Fully aware. You're right. And I've never been one to be in numbers. At the end of Avengers where Thanos goes, all right, I'll do it myself. I related to that statement so much. There's a song called Boiler by Limp Bizkit, and one of the lines is, I can't think of the line right now, but it's like, I'm going to do it myself. Maybe I could use some help, but hell, if you want something done right, you do it yourself. And I believe that. I do it myself because, I've got my vision and I'm going to do it. I don't need to follow the crowd. And maybe that works against me in a lot of ways. I don't know. People will walk away from this video and they'll be annoyed. They'll think I'm an asshole or they'll be pissed and they'll go spread rumors about me because it's already been done. Okay. I can't control what you do. I can only control what I do. And I'm fully responsible for what I say, not what you hear. And I'm just spitting out some universal truths and some that are just what I think is the truth. And it's for you to decide what's the truth and what's not. But the industry is declining, guys. That's not disputable. And there's a lot of factors for it. It's not just the grifting and the collectability market and the investor market and the flippers and all that bullshit. It's the fact that the mainstream publishers no longer honor the history of comics. They don't hire the Chuck Dixons, Peter Davids, Chris Claremonts anymore. If they do, it's for a 5-issue run to sell you on nostalgia to get your money and run. They're not interested in long-form storytelling anymore. They want short, quick stuff because they believe your attention span is shit. And you know what's funny? I keep hearing that, and I don't know if I believe it anymore, and I'll tell you why. People will follow a good story all the way. Our attention spans are short because there's nothing worth holding our attention anymore. That's just what I believe. I can't quantify that, but I believe that. I mean, I've seen some shows that go ongoing. People stuck with it. They loved it. They enjoyed it. And when it ended, they didn't want it to end. So, hi, Glenn. So, I mean, this is my rant. It became a rant after all. And again, people will walk away annoyed. I have people that watch me quietly. Some are actually bigger names, which I'm flattered. And some are indie people. Some are good with it. Some say nothing. Some hate it. You can take away whatever you want. But I'm sorry, I can't sit here and watch myself and fellow indie people putting out quality books, busting their ass and watching, begging for scraps, begging for your dollar, getting no respect, while I'm watching big names who, in my opinion, they're not putting out anything of quality, racking in the dough. I'm not saying they shouldn't. I'm not saying they can't. I'm saying, could you also spread the wealth to the other guys? Can we support everyone? Come say goodnight, Bear. This is the Bear.
Hi.
I love you. Sleep well, sweet dreams. God bless, kiddo.
Good night.
Say goodnight to everybody.
Night.
You know, yes, tomorrow's Halloween. You're going to be Wednesday. I'm going to go as a fat Irishman. Okay?
I don't see how that's you.
You're cute.
Thank you.
Get some rest. I love you, sweetie.
We all Irish.
Good night.
Good night.
Like me or hate me, I'm not concerned. I need to be the man that those kids deserve someday, and that's a man that's at least honest and transparent and tries to work from a place of integrity and is willing to do everything he can in the realm of integrity to achieve his goals. I want to teach these girls that if they work hard and they don't act like a victim and they do the best they can, that they can achieve. And that's what's important to me. And I enjoy storytelling, and I think I'm good at it, and I want to share it out more. But we won't talk about an indie book, right? I mean, how many of you have read Tragedy or Diary of Dread or Withered or Dynamics or whatever, and you really, really liked it? Are you out there talking about it, creating a buzz? No. But you're out there talking about the latest episode of, I don't know, Agatha, whatever that is called. Really? I mean, that gets the green light, but Rabbit's Badass Song is scrounging for $2,000. It's just not right, man. It's just not right. I'm old enough to know the world isn't fair, but I'm still young enough to be idealistic that maybe we can make it a little more fair, that we can fight, that we can change that. So, of course you talk about it. You're on it. No, I'm just kidding, Kenny. I mean, I think everybody knows what I'm saying. Some of you may disagree, and you're welcome to. I never knock anybody for disagreeing with me. I don't. I only knock you if you come at me like an asshole. You know, we can have discussion. We can exchange ideas. We can talk. You could be on the opposite political spectrum, and that's okay. We can talk as long as we want the same goals. If we disagree on how to get there, that's okay. We're still good people. You're not a villain because you vote against who I would vote for. I mean, it's just silly to have that mentality. And you're not, and I'm not vilifying anybody who's doing what they're doing if you're not forcing anybody to do anything. I'm not mad at the grifters, but I am frustrated with the fans that are empowering them. That's being honest. I mean, I've seen people throw $50 at a cover that not only wasn't really great art, it was photoshopped of an actor onto a naked body. It's obvious it wasn't really drawn. They can say it was all they want, but it wasn't. And they limited it to 100, and I watched these people make thousands. And I'm not hating on them. It's not jealousy, but it is frustration. Because if they made their money and I'm watching Rabbit's Badass Song or Arcane Syndicate do well too, then good. Everybody's happy. They got what they got. They got what they got. My frustration is that people will throw their money at that stuff and they will turn a snobby nose at what I'm doing. I was at a comic store the other day, and I'm not going to name it. And I went into the store and I went to speak to the owner about something business-wise. And to be honest with you, I've had this conversation with many stores, and they've all been receptive because it's a good thing that I'm discussing. This one individual wouldn't even look at me, was on their computer, not even giving me a moment of their time. I went through my pitch, so to speak, and they just go, without even looking at me, they go, "No, I'm good." And they turn around and they walk away from me. I mean, that's really disrespectful. I doubt they would do that to Scott Snyder. I doubt they would do that to a Marvel representative. But because they see me as I can't do anything for them or I'm below, they treat you that way. And that's the other thing that goes on in the industry is this celebrity worship, and then we put people at certain values, right? Well, if I can say I'm friends with Chris Claremont, then I'm a somebody, so I'm going to kiss Claremont's ass, and I'm going to love Claremont, and I'm going to be buddy-buddy with Claremont. But if you look at a guy like Dennis Knight, who's a writer, well, what can he do for me? He doesn't have any clout that he could boost me up, so fuck Dennis. Really? Who's to say Dennis isn't every bit the writer as Chris Claremont? He just didn't get his break. I mean, it's possible. There was a time where David Finch wasn't known, and then Mark Silvestri found him, and now he's a legend, right? By the way, Dave's a really nice guy, and his wife is awesome too. But at some point, he was a nobody, and we treat people based on class. We keep talking about race and gender, but the truth is the only ism there is classism. What can you do for me? What kind of clout do you have? How much money do you have? What kind of celebrity or popularity do you have? What eyes can you bring to me? That's really what this industry and every other industry looks at. That's really where it's at, right? Because Morgan Freeman is black, but I guarantee you not one white person on the planet wouldn't be kissing his ass if he could bring them likes to their YouTube channel or if they could interview him. It's classism. We look down on people based on, well, who are you? Well, I'm just like everybody else. I'm no better, no worse. But I might be, well-known someday, and you should be careful how you treat people when they're at the bottom of the ladder, because they're going to remember you on the way up. And that's a fact. Yesterday's nobody could be tomorrow's somebody, for the lack of better term. And even if you're not, so what? You should be treated with respect based on the merit of what you can do. You look at an independent writer, and they might be just as enjoyable to read as Peter David. They may not have his fame or notoriety or his resume, but they're just as good. Why should they be treated differently? But that's the hard truth. Branding and investment have become the currency of media, whether it be movies or comics or even prose books or cartoons or TV or toys. Collectability has become a point where you buy a toy is so expensive now you don't even want to open it because you will it be worth something someday. They're even slabbing video game cartridges. Jesus Christ. You're slabbing a video game cartridge because you think it'll be worth some money someday. What about the hours of enjoyment you got out of playing that game? Why isn't that more important? I remember playing the first Tomb Raider and the first Resident Evil at the same time, like they came out at the same time, and this blew my mind. These were freaking awesome. First Resident Evil, first survival horror. Wow, it was so cool. It was so fun. I remember walking in the mansion. I walk in and there's a zombie eating a body on the floor, and there's a cut scene. It was brilliant. It was just so enjoyable, and I've played the game a couple times since. I wouldn't think of slabbing that game to try to resell it for a bunch of money because the value to me was in the story and the entertainment of getting away from the real world into that world for a little while, submersing myself into that world. And the world is tougher now than ever, and I know there's a ton of stuff out there to compete with, but you would think people would be looking more for something substantial, something, what's the word I'm looking for? Instead of shallow, because collectability in a way in itself is shallowness. Like all the art and the statues I have here, that's shallow collectability, right? Because, yeah, it looks great, but when I'm in the middle of my busy day, how much am I really paying attention to that stuff? It's an aesthetic on the side. It's not what's most important in life. It's pretty. I like it. You spend a lot of money on it, and it sits on a shelf and collects dust. But the stories that these statues are based on, I reread. I revisit, I remember, I recall, I talk about. So if you really look at it, and I'm guilty of collectability, but if you look at it, the collecting side is the shallow part of it, and the reading side is the substance side. And I'm not saying you can't enjoy both, but the problem is I don't think we're enjoying both. We've kind of pushed the substance side away, and we're going into the collector side of things all the way. And I think it hurts the industry, and I think it really discourages a lot of people that are very talented that we may never know them because they're going to quit before they get a chance. And that's really a shame. That's a crime, to see some talented people not make it when they, based on merit, they had everything that they should have needed to make it. But there's so much other stuff involved, politics, etc. Whatever. All right, I ranted long enough. I appreciate the few people that stuck around. Take what I say with a grain of salt. You can agree, you can disagree, you could be mad, you could be happy, you could be indifferent, you could be apathetic, you could be whatever you want. That's your right. Just, I don't need to know about it. All right, if it's negative, I don't need to know about it. Don't feel the need to tell me. Okay, just you go your way, I'll go mine, we'll enjoy. And don't try to hurt me or my business, please, because you're not just hurting me, you're hurting my family. You're hurting my wife who stresses and works all the time. As I fearlessly try to make this publishing thing work, my wife is scared out of her mind. So you're not just hurting me, you're hurting those two innocent kids, and you're hurting my wife. So live and let live, people. Live and let live. Oh, by the way, for the people who can say whatever they want, and it's just a shtick or a personality online, or it's okay for you who don't like it when I do it, stop being a hypocrite. Come on. A little introspection. Look at yourself. You're shooting your mouth off every day saying whatever the hell you want, however you want, to whoever you want, and it's supposed to be accepted. But if anybody says anything to you, you get bent out of shape. Being a hypocrite. Cut the crap. You know who you are. Anyway, and that's a person I do like and respect, but that's just being honest. You're a Sag. My father was a Sag. Anyway, I just want to remind you, Arcane Syndicate is live right now. We have 27 hours to go. It ends on midnight on Halloween. I would love to get to $6,000, please. The reason is the production of the book and paying people and everything. I set the goal lower so we could fund sooner because unfortunately it does look better if you fund sooner. People get worried if you're not looking like you're going to fund, and I'd rather have some money and then have to pay the rest out of pocket than no money. So that's why I put the goal lower than what I really need. So if you guys could please get us to $6,000 or around there, that'd be great. There's original art by Kenny Calderon. There's original art by Ricardo Silva, which I showed here. I'll show real quick one more time. I'm telling you guys, it's a great story. It's ongoing. You're going to love it. These pieces of art are available as add-ons. I am an idiot, and I accidentally did not put the pictures, so nobody knows they're on there, and that's probably why they haven't sold. But these are on there. So go please check them out. I like that one the best. And you're supporting artists, you're supporting publishers, you're supporting writers, you're supporting a lot of people trying to live their dream. All right, thanks for listening to me shout off crap at the mouth. I appreciate those who support me. I appreciate those who don't try to come at me. And for those who do try to come at me, I pray for your enlightenment. And if you can't find enlightenment, go fuck yourself. All right. Having said that, I appreciate all of you. And I'm going to leave you with what I always leave you with. Be legendary and have fun storming the castle.